The broken alien girl, the planet Zalox, was full of life, light, and power. Tall alien towers touched the sky, and their technology was far ahead of humans. But in this shining world, not everyone was lucky. Saylara was one of them. She was born different. Her legs were weak, her body small. The doctors told her parents she would never walk like others. In their proud alien society, weakness was like a curse. Saylara's parents tried to hide her from the world. But soon they grew tired of her. They wanted a strong child, not a broken one. When she was just a child, they left her at a care home. But even there, life wasn't kind. Other alien children laughed at her. Some pushed her wheelchair down the street for fun. The workers ignored her cries. She was invisible to everyone. The world had no place for someone like her. Years passed and Saylara grew older, but the pain never stopped. Her weak legs still refused to work. Her long silver hair fell over her face, hiding her sad green eyes. Every day, she crawled outside to watch the busy market. She watched other aliens walking tall, talking with pride. No one ever looked at her. To them, she was broken, useless, unwanted. She dreamed of leaving Zalox. But how could she? She couldn't even walk. She couldn't fight. She couldn't survive alone in the universe. So, she sat by the corner of the street, watching life pass her by. Her only friends were the shadows and the cold walls. But everything changed the day the humans arrived. It was rare for humans to visit Zalox. They were seen as weak by the proud aliens of this planet. But recently, humans had started building trade relations with them. Their ships came and went, carrying supplies and technology. Most Zalox people ignored them. But Saylara watched with curiosity. Unlike her own people, humans looked soft yet determined. They didn't carry the same pride, but they had something else. She didn't know what it was. She only watched from afar. One bright morning, a new human ship landed near the market. The crowd gathered to see them. Tall, proud aliens whispered to each other, looking down on the newcomers. Saylara sat in her corner, hidden as usual. But her eyes locked onto one human as he stepped down the ramp. His name was Ryan. He looked around, taking in the tall towers and shining streets. His brown hair was messy, and his face carried a tired but gentle look. Unlike others, his eyes didn't shine with pride or judgment. Instead, they searched, like he was looking for something or someone. The crowd moved, ignoring the weak girl sitting alone. But Ryan's eyes stopped. He saw her. For the first time, someone truly saw Saylara. She froze. Nobody ever looked at her like that. People either ignored her or looked with pity. But this human, he didn't show pity. His eyes didn't see weakness. His eyes saw her. Her heart raced. She tried to hide, pulling her broken chair closer, but it was useless. The human was already walking toward her. The aliens around him laughed. One of them, a tall, sharp-faced alien, shouted, "Why waste your time? She's useless, broken. She's not even worth looking at." Ryan ignored them. His steps were slow, careful. He stopped a few feet away from Saylara and knelt down. For a moment, Saylara wanted to crawl away. But her weak legs failed her as always. Ryan smiled gently. His voice was calm, quiet. "Are you okay?" he asked. Saylara didn't answer. Her mind was full of fear and confusion. No one had ever asked her that before. No one had cared enough to even speak to her. The aliens behind him laughed again. "She can't talk properly. Don't waste your breath." But Ryan's eyes never left her. "I'm Ryan," he said softly. "I came from Earth. What's your name?" Saylara opened her mouth, but no words came. Her throat felt tight. Her chest ached with emotions she had buried for years. Ryan didn't push. He waited. His eyes were patient, full of something she had never seen before: kindness. The first time in her lonely life, Selara felt noticed. She felt seen, like she mattered. She whispered, barely loud enough, "Selara." Ryan smiled again. "Nice to meet you, Selara." That simple sentence shook her heart. Nobody had ever said they were happy to meet her. Nobody had ever made her feel human. She didn't know why this stranger cared. Maybe he was different. Maybe he didn't see her as weak. Or maybe, for the first time in her broken life, someone truly wanted to connect with her. But deep inside, Selara also wondered, was this kindness real? Or would it disappear like everyone else? She didn't know yet. But her lonely, quiet world had finally changed, and nothing would ever be the same again. Asterisk the human's first words the next day. The market was crowded as always. Shiny alien machines floated past, and tall Zalok citizens walked proudly, ignoring the small, broken girl sitting near the corner. Selara sat there silently, as she always did. But today, her heart wasn't quiet. It still remembered the human's eyes, the way he had looked at her, not with pity, not with disgust, but something different. She had told herself it was just a moment, that he would forget her like everyone else, but she was wrong. Before the sun could fully rise, Selara saw him again. Ryan, the human, walked through the crowd, his eyes searching. The others avoided him, whispering behind his back. Strange human, they called him. Why bother with the weak one? But Ryan wasn't listening to them. His eyes were locked on Sae. Lara. Her hands trembled slightly. Why had he come back? What did he want? Fear and curiosity danced inside her chest. Ryan stopped in front of her. The busy market around them faded from her mind. It was just him and her. "Hey," Ryan said softly, a small smile on his face. "I was hoping to see you again." Number. One had ever said that to her before. Her mind struggled to believe his words. She expected him to laugh, to walk away, to say it was all a joke. But he didn't. "I'm Ryan," he repeated, offering his hand, though he made no move to force her. Selara stared at his hand. Her fingers shook. She wasn't used to being touched, being noticed, being wanted in any way. But something inside her, a small, broken part of her heart, wanted to believe him. "I know. You probably don't trust me," Ryan continued. "But I saw you yesterday, and I couldn't forget your eyes. You look like someone who deserves better than this." Selara's lips parted slightly, but no sound came. No one had ever spoken to her like this, like she was important, like she wasn't trashed. The other aliens nearby muttered in anger. One tall male sneered, "She's worthless, human. You're wasting your time." But Ryan stood firm. His eyes didn't leave Selara's. "I don't believe that," he said calmly. "I don't believe anyone is worthless." His words hit Selara like a quiet storm. She had heard the opposite all her life: useless, weak, broken. But here was a human who refused to see her that way. Slowly, her voice cracked out, small and uncertain. "Why me?" Ryan smiled, not mocking but gentle. "Because I've seen strength before, and I can see it in your eyes. You've been fighting your whole life, haven't you?" Her throat tightened. She couldn't answer, but tears stung. Her eyes, Ryan noticed, but he didn't push her. Instead, he knelt down beside her broken chair and carefully pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple tool, but Selara's eyes widened in shock. It was a rare human gadget, a mobility repair tool. "Your chair," Ryan said softly. "It's damaged. I can fix it, if you'll let me." The words confused her. Why would a stranger, a human, offer help when even her own people wouldn't? I don't have credits," Selara whispered, her voice weak. "I can't pay you." Ryan chuckled lightly. I didn't ask for payment. Sometimes people just deserve help, that's all. Solara stared at him. Her heart wanted to believe him, but her mind whispered warnings. Everyone leaves. Everyone lies. But Ryan was different. He didn't look away. He didn't mock her. He didn't call her broken. Instead, he opened his small toolkit and carefully began adjusting the weak parts of her chair. The crowd stared. Some laughed. Some shook their heads in disgust. But Ryan kept working, ignoring them all. Solara stayed. Frozen, her heart pounding. She didn't know why this human cared. But deep inside, a quiet, fragile hope began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, this time, someone had truly chosen to connect with her. Whispers of hope. Days passed, but the memory of that moment never left Solara's heart. For the first time, someone had seen her as more than broken. And not just anyone, a human, a stranger, who had no reason to care. Yet Ryan kept coming back. Every morning, when the market filled with noise and proud alien voices, Solara expected him to disappear, to forget her, like everyone else. But he never did. Instead, Ryan came with quiet determination and small, strange gadgets from Earth. The first thing he repaired was her broken chair. It had once been a weak, barely moving device that scraped against the streets, making her feel even more helpless. But Ryan's skilled hands worked wonders. He replaced the old parts with new, strong ones. The wheels moved smoothly now. The seat adjusted perfectly. It wasn't just a chair anymore. It was freedom, in its own small way. The other aliens watched with cold eyes. They didn't like what they saw. Whispers followed Ryan wherever he went. The human is wasting his time. She's still worthless. Why help the broken girl? Solara heard every cruel word, but Ryan never reacted. His focus stayed on her, on his work, on fixing what life had tried to destroy. But it wasn't just the chair. It was her, too. The more Ryan helped her, the more her heart dared to hope. It was a dangerous feeling. Hope had betrayed her before, but this time, it felt different. One afternoon, as Ryan tightened the last bolts on her chair, he looked up and smiled. There, he said proudly. Stronger than before. Solara's fingers trembled as she touched the chair. It moved so easily now, so smoothly. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like dead weight. Ryan leaned back. I know it's just a chair, he admitted. But sometimes a little change makes a big difference. Solara stared at him, confused yet curious. Why do you care? She finally asked. Her voice was soft but steady. Ryan paused, thinking. Because I know what it feels like, he replied. Back on Earth, I wasn't exactly accepted by everyone. She tilted her head slightly. But you're human. You're strong. You can walk. Ryan chuckled. Strength isn't always about walking, he said. Sometimes it's about standing up here. He pointed to his head, then his heart. Even when the world tells you you're not good enough. His words stayed with her long after he left that day, but not everyone was happy with their growing friendship. The group called the Pure began to notice them. They were powerful aliens who believed only the strong and perfect deserved respect. To them, weakness was sickness, and Solara, she was everything they hated. Rumors started to spread. Some whispered that the human was wasting valuable time and resources on a worthless girl. Others said he had gone soft, fallen for her weakness. Some even claimed Solara was using him. Solara heard it all. Her old fears crept back into her heart. She had seen this before when people pretended to care, only to leave when it became inconvenient. But Ryan didn't leave. Each day, he returned with new tools, small upgrades, and quiet words of encouragement. He taught her things about human technology, about strength hidden inside, about the stars beyond Zalox. And slowly, quietly, the whispers of cruelty were replaced by whispers of hope in her own mind. For the first time, Selara believed maybe she wasn't cursed. Maybe she wasn't useless, but with hope came danger. The pure were watching, and they didn't like what they saw. Asterisk shadows of danger. The city of Zalox looked beautiful from far away. Shining towers, glowing streets, and powerful aliens walking with pride. But beneath all that beauty were shadows. Dark places where anger, jealousy, and hate lived. And now those shadows had turned toward Selara. For the first time in her life, Selara felt a small flame of hope burning inside her. With Ryan's help, her chair was strong. Her heart was slowly healing. She even dared to dream of leaving her corner one day, of exploring the world she had only watched from a distance. But hope, in a place like Zalox, was dangerous. The pure, a powerful group of aliens who believed only the strong deserved to walk the streets, had noticed her. They watched the human fix her chair. They whispered when he spoke kindly to her, and their eyes filled with disgust every time Selara dared to smile to them. She was a stain on their proud society. Broken, weak, useless, and now she was attracting attention. Their attention. Ryan didn't care about their whispers. His mind was busy building small gadgets, teaching Selara things she had never known. But Selara, she felt the danger growing like a storm behind her. The warning started quietly. A smashed tool left at her corner, scratches on her chair at night, words carved into the wall. Weak ones don't belong here. Ryan noticed. Of course, they're just cowards, he said calmly. They're afraid of what you might become. Selara wanted to believe him, but fear was hard to silence. She had seen what the pure could do to those they hated. Whispers turned into attacks. Small warnings turned into real danger. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, the danger became real. Selara was waiting near the market, watching the glowing sky. Her chair was steady now, her eyes full of quiet hope. But suddenly, she wasn't alone. 3 tall aliens approached. Their faces were sharp, their eyes cold as ice. She recognized their markings, the pure. Enjoying your new wheels, weakling? One of them sneered, tapping her chair with his boot. The human fixed it well. Too bad he can't fix you. Selara's heart pounded. She tried to move, but they blocked her path. Another alien leaned down. You're a disgrace to the city, and now you've brought an outsider into our business. Their words cut deep, but their eyes promised something worse, real harm. Before she could speak, a familiar voice called out, "Step away from her." Ryan stood at the edge of the street, his jaw tight, eyes hard. The aliens laughed. "You can't protect her, human. You don't belong here." Ryan walked forward slowly. "Maybe not. But I belong where decent people are treated with respect." The leader of the group smirked. "She's not decent. She's broken." Ryan didn't flinch. "Broken? I see someone who survived, who keeps fighting. That's more strength than cowards hiding behind a gang name." The aliens' faces darkened. Words were no longer enough. They moved toward him. Selara's fear exploded. She wanted to shout, to beg him to run. But Ryan stood his ground. Then something unexpected happened. From his belt, Ryan pulled out a small human device, a shock emitter. It wasn't a weapon, but it sent a clear message. He was prepared. The aliens hesitated. They could attack, but it would bring attention. And attention wasn't their goal. Fear was. "We'll be watching, weakling," the leader hissed at Selara, stepping back. "Next time, the human won't be here to save you." They disappeared into the shadows, but their threat stayed like poison in the air. Selara's body shook. Her hands gripped her chair. Ryan knelt beside her, his voice calm but serious. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "They'll come again." She nodded, fear and sadness filling her chest. "You shouldn't stay?" "It's dangerous." Ryan's eyes softened. "I didn't come all this way to run now." Solara wanted to believe him, but deep inside she knew. The shadows weren't done with them yet. The real danger was only just beginning. Asterisk hidden strength. For days the streets of Zalox felt different. The bright towers still shined, the alien market still buzzed with life, but for Solara, everything was filled with quiet fear. She could feel their eyes, the pure, watching her from the shadows, waiting, planning. Rand stayed close. He never left her side for long, but even he knew they couldn't run forever. Sooner or later, those jealous, angry aliens would return. And next time, they wouldn't just bring words, they would bring real harm. But hiding wasn't the answer. One cold evening, Ryan made a decision that changed everything. He took Solara deep beneath the city into the forgotten tunnels. Most aliens avoided those dark places. The old machines, left from a war long ago, gathered dust there. But Ryan, he saw opportunity. Among the broken metal and ancient wires, he found what he was searching for, a damaged exosuit. Solara stared at it with wide, nervous eyes. The suit looked old, rusted, useless, but Ryan smiled like he had found treasure. "This can give you your legs back," he said quietly. Solara's heart froze. She couldn't believe him. For so long, her legs had been weak, lifeless. Doctors had called her hopeless. Even her own people had thrown her aside. Now this human believed a broken machine could fix what life had destroyed? "It's impossible," she whispered. Ryan shook his head gently. "Impossible is just what people say when they're afraid to try." She wanted to believe him, but fear was heavy in her chest. "Even if you fix it, I won't know how to use it." Ryan's eyes softened. "Then I'll teach you." Step by step. It wasn't easy. The suit was old, broken, forgotten by time, but Ryan's human hands were skilled. Day after day, he repaired the metal frame, replaced missing parts, connected the power cells. Solara watched him work her, heart pulling in two directions, fear and fragile hope. The others would never believe it. A weak, broken girl walking? No, they would laugh. They would call it a joke. But the human never gave up. And slowly, neither did she. After days of repairs, the suit was ready. It wasn't perfect, but it was strong enough. Ryan helped her into it, adjusting the metal supports to her thin legs. The machine clicked and hummed as it powered on. Solara's breath shook. She had never stood tall before, never looked anyone in the eye from the same level. Her heart screamed with doubt, but Ryan's voice was steady. "You've been strong inside all along," he whispered. "Now it's time the outside catches up." The first step was hard. Her legs felt strange, part machine, part alien tech. But as she moved, they held her. Step by step, her body rose. Solara stood, for the first time in her life. She wasn't crawling. She wasn't trapped in her chair. She stood tall, her head held high. Tears filled her eyes. The weak girl the world rejected was finally standing. Ryan smiled proudly. "Told you. Hidden strength." But their victory wasn't silent. In the dark corners, the pure were watching. They had expected her to stay broken, to stay weak. Now they saw a threat, and threats had to be destroyed. The choice to fight back. The city of Zalox had always looked down on Solara. Her weak legs, her broken body, her silent tears, they were reasons for others to laugh, to reject her. But now, things had changed. She wasn't crawling in the dirt anymore. She wasn't hiding behind a broken chair. Thanks to the human. Thanks to Ryan, Solara could stand tall. The old exosuit carried her weight, steady and strong. Her legs moved. Her body obeyed, but standing tall. Came with a price. The pure were furious. For them, weakness wasn't just hated, it was a crime. And now, the weak girl they had rejected was walking. Worse, she was walking with pride. It was something they couldn't allow that the warnings didn't take long. One morning near the market, messages appeared on the walls. She is a lie. The weak must fall. The human will pay. Solara's hands trembled as she read them. Her heart, once filled with fragile hope, now filled with fear again. Ryan saw the fear in her eyes, but he didn't flinch. They want you scared, he said calmly. But you've already done the impossible. You stood up. That's more than they can handle. But standing wasn't enough anymore. The pure weren't. Hiding their anger now. They moved openly through the streets, their sharp eyes watching her every step. Their leader, a tall, cold-eyed alien named Viorin, made no secret of his hatred. One evening, as the red sun sank behind the towers, Viorin and his followers found Solara and Ryan near the city center. The crowd parted, silent, watching. Vorin's voice echoed, "You embarrass our city, girl." "You should have stayed down." Solara's heart pounded. Her legs, still new to walking, felt weak again. But Ryan stepped beside her, his hand steady on her shoulder. Vorin's eyes narrowed at the human. "You did this. You made her believe she belongs." Ryan didn't look away. "She does belong." The crowd watched, waiting. No one spoke. Number. One moved. Solara could feel their eyes. Some were curious. Some were afraid. But many still believed what Viorin believed, that she was nothing. Her old fear screamed at her to run, to hide, to go back to the shadows. But something inside her had changed. Her legs were weak, yes. Her past was full of rejection, yes. But Ryan had shown her something no one else had. Belief that she couldn't run anymore. Her voice shook but carried strength. "I may have been weak, but you're the ones afraid." The crowd gasped. Vorin's face darkened. Afraid of what? A broken girl and a human toy? Solara's eyes burned with quiet fire. Afraid of change. Afraid of hope. Afraid of people like me standing up. The Pure's laughter filled the air, but it couldn't hide the truth. The crowd had seen her rise. They had seen her stand. And deep inside, some of them wondered, maybe weakness wasn't so weak after all. Viorin stepped forward, his voice sharp as a blade. "You've made your choice, girl. You stand, now you'll fall." The threat was clear. This wasn't over. The real fight was only beginning. But Solara didn't flinch. She had made her choice. She would not crawl again. She would not hide. And no one, not even the pure, would break her again. Asterisk more than acceptance, the streets of Zalox had seen many things. Powerful aliens, tall shining towers, battles for pride. But never had they seen someone like Solara. A broken girl, a weak girl, a forgotten girl, who refused to stay down that the day of the final fight had come. The pure had made their move. Their leader, Viorin, wanted to crush Solara in front of the whole city to remind everyone that weakness would never rise. His soldiers circled the plaza. The crowd gathered. Whispers filled the air, some mocking, some curious, some afraid. Ryan stood beside Solara, his eyes steady. But it wasn't his fight now. It was hers. Solara's heart raced. Her body shook inside the exosuit. But she remembered every cruel word, every moment of rejection. Every time they had laughed, pushed, ignored her. Not today. Viorin stepped forward. His voice was loud, proud, cruel. "You're nothing but a weak body hiding in human metal. Take off that suit and you'll crawl like the worm you've always been." Solara looked at him, but her fear was gone. "My body was weak," she said, her voice calm but sharp. "But your mind is weaker," the crowd gasped. Voron's face twisted with rage. He rushed forward, confident, ready to knock her down. But Solara didn't fall. Her exosuit moved fast, her legs strong beneath her. She dodged, stood tall, faced him without fear. The battle wasn't about strength anymore. It was about courage. It was about refusing to believe the lies they had fed her for years. Vioran attacked again. But this time, the crowd didn't cheer for him. They watched in silence. Some even hoped that the broken girl would win, and she did. With one final push, Solara knocked Vioran down. His pride shattered in front of everyone. His soldiers hesitated, unsure. The pure strength came from fear, but today there was no fear. The crowd surrounded them. But they didn't look at Solara with disgust anymore. Their eyes were wide, surprised, even respectful. For so long, all Solara had wanted was to be accepted, to be seen, to belong. But now she realized it was never about their acceptance. It was about believing in herself. The human Ryan walked to her side, smiling proudly. "You did it," he whispered. Solara smiled softly, her eyes wet with quiet victory. "No," she replied. "We did it." The crowd stayed silent for a moment, then slowly some of them clapped. Others nodded, even the ones who once rejected her couldn't deny the truth. She wasn't just a broken girl anymore. She was proof that weakness didn't mean failure. She was proof that even the failures and the forgotten could rise. And most importantly, she had found something far stronger than acceptance. She had found connection, real, honest connection with one human who had believed in her when no one else did. And with that, Solara knew she would never crawl again.